Hello everybody and welcome to the Astroflower. This is going to be a reading for the collective going from mid-January through to the end of January for the next sort of like 2 or 3 weeks basically. I'm trying to catch up on all the videos that I missed out making over the Christmas period and into the beginning part of the new year because of that cold. So did you enjoy your weeklies? I hope so. I enjoyed doing them. It's great to be back. So what we're going to do here today is we're going to go through and see what's going on in the Earth chakras, and then we're going to be looking at the human energy for the next sort of 2-3 weeks, and then we're going to be pulling some cards. So it will all be time stamped. So if you want to jump from one thing to another, you're more than welcome. Let's just bring up that sort of let's bring up my world map of chakras for the chakras of the earth. Here we go. Lovely. So there's the root chakra down there, and then we got the sacrum, which is up there, and then we've got the solar plexus, which is down there, and then we got the heart, which is up here somewhere. There it is. And then we've got the throat and the third eye, which is over about Mount Fuji, and then we got the crown chakra, which is Mount Kailash. Okay, so let's just give you a bit of background information on the sun and how the sun's being active. Basically, we've moved into the section of the high solar activity, so we're getting a lot more M flares and X flares that are not really generally directed in the direction of the Earth, but it does put a lot more electricity and vibration within the system itself, within the solar system. So that obviously affects the Earth's vibration, and then obviously it affects our vibration as an individuals, as a collective, and that's what we're going to try and look into today. So let's just start off with the root chakra, which should be around about there. Okay, so it's losing a bit of intensity, and that's because we're moving into we've gone past the equinox, the solstice, sorry, in the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, summer solstice in the southern hemisphere. So the things are gradually moving back. The energy is gradually moving back to the northern hemisphere. It's not quite there yet, but it's certainly a lot less on the root chakra here. Let's just follow that line going up. So we come up through Mexico, and then we're up into America, on the west coast of America. Now this line here, this red line going up there, is it's like a vertical line. So it's like male energy, if you like a yin energy, or is it yang energy? I always get the two mixed up. And it's like vertical energy. That's why you get the ridge of the Andes, and it goes up into the Rockies and stuff like that. There seems to be a pinch moment here, which is just above Mexico. So it's just before the sacrum, really. So you might get a lot of earthquakes in that sort of area there. This all depends upon how the sun works as well. So keep an eye on the sun. I will be doing regular updates on the Cymatic TV, which is our sister channel. So you might want to go over there, subscribe, to get the updates. It could well be a reasonably sized one, around about the sort of 6. It's not massive, but it's bigger than the run of the mill, as it were. But yeah, on the route here, the way it's playing through, there's a change going on. We've got all those retrogrades in Mercury and Mars, and then back to Mercury as well. So I don't think I think there's a transition. There's a definite transition that's coming in February and March, which I've been talking about, and I will be doing readings on that as well, which I'm calling the February anomaly at the moment. And it's almost as if like the Earth sort of saying it understands that change needs to happen, and in order for change to happen, we have to reduce a little bit the root chakra and get a little bit more into the crown chakra. because the crown and the root are the same chakra. It's the back end or the front end of the chakra. You can look at it either way. You could say the root is the front and the crown is the back, or you can say the crown is the front and the root is the back. But once you start playing with one, you get the other one. And the funny thing is if you notice on this map, the root chakra, which is down here, it has the same line crossings as the crown chakra, which is up here. Yeah. And when you invert the line, so when you go for a pole shift, these are the only two chakras that actually sit perfectly on top of one another. Let's just see actually what's going on with the crown chakra. That's glowing a lot more. See what's going on around there as well. So you might get... Yeah, we're going to the earthquakes later on as well. I think there's a possible one that's going into sort of China towards Japan and that sort of area there, as it flows out of the crown chakra. But the crown chakra is definitely, it's getting a lot more attention. It's getting a lot more power going on than the root. So I think it's going to be a very innovative time over the next sort of like 2 or 3 weeks. You might see a lot of things come to the surface, realizations basically within the world of in the human world. This could be concerning money. This could be concerning politics, technology, business, social media or media. That could be sort of films and stuff like that. There might be some sort of revelations that are coming to the surface here, or realizations more than anything else. Where everyone might kind of put one and one together and come up with the two and kind of go, all right. So that seems like going to be like that. I would like to have a look what's going on the sacrum as well. It's not bad. It's reasonable. It's in the average sort of force, as it were. There seems to be a lot more based, and we saw this in the weekly readings as well. Seems to be a little bit more based upon the administration side, the functioning of the human race. I think that's going to be quite important over the next 2 or 3 weeks. I think, and that's going to come through into the political world, into the financial world, how we do things, how are the rules, respected and stuff like that, and people are not bending the rules too much in order to feather their own nests, as it were. And I think that's going to come to the surface on that. Let's just see what the solar plexus is like. That's down in Australia, so that's down by Alice Springs. Yeah, this is really it's really it's well defined. It's not large, it's not too small, but it's roasting. It's really kicking out some, and so there's a lot of determination that goes into this sort of revelation sort of stuff and this realization sort of stuff. There's a real determination here for the world to sort of, the energy that's being put into the system is in a way sort of saying, you have to go right to the end. Don't just look at the surface and kind of go, oh, that's a bit messed up and let's clean it up. You've got to go to the root of the problem, I think. And I think this is all mental stuff, so that's where you're going to find the root of the problem. The crown and the root chakra, as I said earlier on, are the same chakra. And it's going to be mental. It's how we do things. And I think this is where the fire of that solar plexus is going to feed into the system a lot more than elsewhere. Let's just see what's going on the heart chakra. This is wide, it's large, it's there's a lot of communication here, and not necessarily all of it's good, I don't think. Sometimes, when we speak from the heart, obviously that can be a really beautiful thing, but it also can be a very cutting thing. Home truths can be very painful for some people who may not want to hear them. And I think here is a case of it's opening up, so basically it's getting a wider audience, so it's crossing different social boundaries, different sort of sectors in life, basically between the humans And it's like people from across the world, regardless of where you're from and what your origins are and what your belief systems are, I think there's going to be a lot of kind of people standing up kind of going, you see the same thing as I see? Wow. What the is going on? Sort of scenario. And you know, people are going to get passionate because that solar plexus is going to feed that heart, and it's going to possibly, and this is where we come into the retrogrades onto Mercury and to Mars. I'd be just a little bit wary about how you say things, how you comment on what's going on. I would be almost a little bit reserved. Truth is paramount at the moment, and for the next 10, 12 years, that is going to be totally the main thing. I talk about it in the year 2023 reading, and the eclipses and the solstices readings, the collective readings. If you want to go back and see them for what's happening in 2023, please do. It's all to do with respect and stuff like that, and I think that comes from truth at the beginning, and I think this is where the truths are going to be coming out. And sometimes truths are not, as I said, like people don't like hearing truths, but it's wide, as I said, the heart. So there is a certain aspect of this is the truth, therefore, you know, this is how we need to change things, and accept the apologies of people. I think that's really important. And if they keep doing it, obviously, then you need to call them out and sort of, you know, sort of put them to the back of the queue in a way. But if they recognise the situation and change and apologise, and I think that's the best way for the human race to actually progress in regards to respect, because we can all be wrong. I like yourself, like everybody, we can all be wrong at some given point. It's just recognising when we are wrong and accepting it and sort of, you know, adjusting and according to it. So so I think, you know, that's the main thing that's going to be coming out. Let's see what's going on the third eye and the throat chakra. Now, this is over Mount Fuji. Yeah, there's a lot more going on the third eye. You might get some real innovative things coming out in regards to money, in regards to technology. Those sort of things might be coming to the fore, and it might only be something that you hear about briefly, that they've mastered some sort of technology or something like that, but it's not readily available yet. But it's that breakthrough that, you know, it's introduction to the world. I think that's the sort of thing that's going to be coming out, really. For some reason it ties into, you know, Starlink and Elon Musk and everything like that. Maybe it's a connection between humans and AI. There's going to be a revelation on the communications between human consciousness and AI consciousness, basically. That's what it sort of seems like. But there's a lot of third eye going on here on that section. We've seen the crown chakra. I do just want to have a bit of a skim and see what's going on in the way of earthquakes and volcanoes. Usual hotspots, I think, around Indonesia. I think in the next couple of weeks you might well see sort of 7s, even 8.2 or something like that. That's feeding that line there, going up. Let's just see, because then we get the crown there, and let's just see what's going up on that root chakra. Yeah, even on the west coast of America, I think that's a place to look out for. But I think it's mainly around that as it plays up through. Yeah, almost also looking at that bit between Japan and Russia, up at the top section there, which I call the Alaskan Ridge. There, I think that's where you're going to be a main one as well, as it comes down there. Let's just see on the... This is the first time I'm doing it on a green screen, so I might be actually slightly out here. But in my... There we go. That's on the crown chakra. I think there's going to be also round between the crown chakra, which is Mount Kailash, and basically Japan. in that section of China, I think we could, there also could be major ones going on there. In Europe, I don't think there's going to be much. There will be a few things that come through, maybe a 4, 5 at tops, that sort of thing. I don't think it's going to this. So it's going to be reinforcing, I think, it's going to be reinforcing that third eye going through to the crown chakra. It's that V shape here. It's almost as if it's doing a play between the two. So it's igniting the ideas and putting it into consciousness with the human race. So, I think the Earth is trying to encourage that realization, basically, to come up through the human race. So let's just move that out of the way and let's bring in the human chakra man or chakra person. Okay, let's just see. It's difficult to depict human energy on a personal basis or even on a collective basis over longer periods of time, simply because it's so dependent upon the vibration of the Earth, and the vibration of the Earth is dependent upon the vibration of the sun. That's the way it goes. If you want to connect to the universe, it is not through your crown chakra. That's not how it works. The system, the universal system, is set up so there is a certain degree of consciousness about it. And once you kick in your consciousness, it's actually really easy to get through. But our connection is to the Earth. So you've got to go through the Earth, and from the Earth to the Sun, and from the Sun to the galaxy, from the galaxy to the universe. That's how it works. And you can go from the Sun to other solar, other planets and stuff like that. I do a lot of that in my meditation with my groups and on my workshops and stuff like that. So if you want to go on any workshops, just send us an email and I'll send you a back of where I'm going to be doing it locally. If you do have 10 people who want to do a workshop, then just contact me and I'll be there. You know what I mean? I need a minimum of 10 and we can get things rolling. So there we go with the Earth Chakra Man. Let's just have a look on the root. Very similar to the Earth, also on the left-hand side. And this has been very prevalent within the weekly readings that's been going on. And this is what I'm talking about, of getting the administration done, getting the T's crossed and the I's dotted before the change, as it were, before another inversion, as it were. Because energy does that. It travels along and then it inverts, and then it inverts, then it inverts. And that's how it does it, constantly. Because it has to do that. And that's what pole shift is all about. Pole shift energy is all about. Let's just go into the sacrum. Very similar sort of thing here, sacrum, to there. It's very balanced. It's not really on one side or another. I think it's because we want to get stuff sorted. So we're not really, I don't think we're going to be concerned so much about our personal desires as a collective. I think it's going to be more a case of, let's be straight about this. We want to be clear. We want to understand. We want the truth. That's the sort of thing that's been playing through. Let's just see what's going on the plexus, the solar plexus. Now, this is a lot wider than the Earth one as well, which lends a lot more weight rather than direct force to the passion, really. So it's a constant. It's a lot more constant. And this is going to help the human race delve deep into the situation, so we can see the truth of the matter and we can see what is really going on. And it's going to be, people are not going to accept of kind of going, oh yeah, we shouldn't have done that, but don't worry, we've sorted it out, we've put measures into place. The thing is, and saying, hang on a second, it's going to be a case where we're going to be sort of saying, hang on a second, why did we get there? How did we get there? And why are these people being allowed to just get away with it? They're not even apologizing. Let's not allow them just to sort of think that they can do wrong and get away with it, basically. And I think that's going to come to the fore a lot more. Let's see what's going on with the heart. So this is where the heart is completely different to the Earth. It's almost like, I don't know if you've seen the weekly readings, the Libras, it's very much like a Libran heart at the moment. Very well defined, very beautiful to look at. Almost looks like crystal, and like crystal sort of knives, as it were, that interlink with one another like that. And it can get swelled with emotions, but if it does enlarge like that, it can act as a almost like sort of swords that are sticking out. That's almost like a protection. But people will tend to look at it and kind of go, "Oh, that looks absolutely beautiful," rather than actually trying to break through it. It'd be more in admiration. And I think it's going to be an admiration for the humans that we can almost turn around and say, we can do it. We can change this place. We can get the stuff sorted. Let's just see what's going on with the third eye and the throat chakra. Now that's intermittent, so it comes and goes, which is normal. A throat chakra and the crown chakra will do that. So let's say that this is the third eye chakra, and this is the throat chakra. Was I saying crown chakra earlier on? I meant the third eye. So the throat and the crown, the throat and the third eye chakra, they play like a trumpet because it's like a U shape. It's actually the same chakra, and it's just bent over. So you got the back and the front that is out the front of you, basically. And as you pull on one, it reduces the other. So, and that's happening quite a lot, which is really good in a way that it gives us inspiration, and then we convert that inspiration into communication and listening to that inspiration. And I think this is going to come to the fore. I think people who get the inspiration to actually say things and do things are going to be a lot more present and in the front running than people who are not innovative or have that inspiration. And those people there are actually going to be thinking, and they're going to be using a lot more of their solar plexus and their heart to sort of be the backup to the inspiration, sort of saying, yeah, right, let's get that. Let's sort that stuff out and stop that happening in the future. Let's see that crown. That crown is large and it's solid, which is really nice. Normally with a crown chakra, it's a bit sort of like a 45-degree sort of like cone, as it were. And you can have it nice and straight. It can droop like that. It can also, hang on a second, it can also cave inwards. And you don't really want that. If it's drooping on the outside, it's basically, you're getting rid of weight or worries that you've been carrying around with you. But this is actually really large, quite large like that. So it's more than 45 degrees, but it's very solid. So it's taking in a lot of different points of view here in order to connect a lot of dots. So this is where that revelation sort of comes into play, really, I think. And I think this is where it's going to push people who have got inspiration. So if you're getting inspiration, I wouldn't sit back and hold it for yourself. I would get out there and express it. Truths, as I said, sometimes are difficult to hear by people. But if I was you, I wouldn't hold back on it. Okay? Let's have a look at what's going on the aura front. Okay, so there's still this mental conflict between groups. This old political idea of divide and rule, basically. It's still a little bit prevalent. I'm hoping in 2023 with the truths that are coming out, we'll put pay to that, basically. People won't be able to stand behind a position just because they've heard it on a mainstream media somewhere and say, oh, that's what it is. Or even on a conspiracy theorist and saying, oh, that's what it is. I think those two sets of people there are they're going to have to come to the middle ground, which is going to help sort stuff out. Extremisms on both extents, and you can see this within nature itself. There's no point having a planet that's one extreme or the other. Extremes are real strenuous times, really. It's much better being the boring middle road. That's where you get a lot more things done, basically. So I think it appears to be coming to an end. There does seem to be a lot of attachments to the outside of our our Earth. So we could be a little bit more affected by the prana winds, or the solar energy, if you like. There's 5 different types of prana, or pneuma if you're Greek, or Holy Spirit if you're Christian, or Baraka, or if you're Muslim. Everybody talks about the similar sort of thing. And it's that breath of God, if you like, that inspiration of energy that comes through that changes things within ourselves and gives us a certain different way of configuring our energy, which makes us come to different realization, helps us to open up that intuition side, or open up that physically getting things done, sort of saying, I haven't been able to work out how to put this thing into play, and then the energy comes in, allows us to get a bit more down into our sacrum and the solar plexus, and that helps us kind of go, I know how to put it together now, and you can start building it. So inspiration and building are two separate things, two different types of energy, but one needs the other, and they feed off one another. So you get the inspiration, you build it, and through building it gives you inspiration for developments and etc. etc. So there does seem to be a slight effect coming from the outside of this planet, which we find on this side here. But on this side here is that's that main mental conflict between two extremes who are messing it up for everybody on this planet. To be honest, it's get back to the middle ground, people. Let's get back to the middle ground. Let's get back to living with one another. I think that's a really important thing to do. Okay, so meditation is a really good way of doing this. I do a lot of my own meditation with my own breathing techniques as well, and you can actually displace your energies. So if you're going to displace it, if you're going to need more in that heart and that solar plexus, if you've actually got to do things and live your passion yourself, that's where you should be moving it out of your crown, out of the third eye, and actually going into it. Or if you want to be inspirational, that's when you move it up. But I wouldn't stay like that constantly. I would go back to a natural state of energy and stuff like that. But I go through that in my workshops as well. As I say, if you want to be part of any workshops, just send us an email, and I'll tell you when the next workshops are coming up. Okay, let's just go through and do a reading now for this next sort of 2 or 3 weeks. And it's obviously we're going to do it in the Astroflower traditional way. So we got relationship sides and the financial side, overall energy and the outcome. So let's just see what the overall energy is for the mid-January going onwards. There's a call to mission here. I think it's the call to mission. So let's just say you were called to a mission. You would go to a place, in the here and now. You've got to nurture this here and now. So let's just get back to that call to mission. You're being called to a mission, so you go to a place where the mission starts. And I think this is what it is. And it's understanding, it's noticing the here and now so you can nurture those changes that are around you and getting passionate about it. And that's that solar plexus idea as well, is actually focusing that solar plexus on situations in order to get the inspiration to go delve deep into what solutions we can find amongst us collectively. Let's just see what the karmic message is for the relationship side. And this is obviously collective reading, so it's not a personal. It's less personal than the weekly readings which I do for each sign, which you can find obviously on this channel. I think forgiveness, it's love and forgiveness comes to mind. Those of you who know me, understanding, Hierophant. So, understanding, learning, going through those 3 vital steps. And those 3 vital steps, you can look at it anyway. So, if we look at the traditional way, it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It's body, mind, and soul. It's using that pyramidal or that 1, 2, 3 scenario in order to give understanding for both sides of the spectrum, so we can learn about how we put into place those steps in order to get to that star, because that's what it's all about. Our dreams and aspirations are there with the Hierophant, and the Hierophant is learned, and this is why the Hierophant is a bit of a teacher. It's also to do with unison card, where the unison comes into one way of thinking, and there's a multitude of ways, but you find the way that's good for you. One way of thinking which takes you up that stairway to that star, to your dreams and aspiration, and it's a straight one. It's not like the hermit, which has to go all the way around the mountain before he gets to his expression, and that's why he's chuffed to bits, because he finds his happiness instantly. And I think this is what taking a lot of fizz out of the discussion, so we can actually get concrete discussion and then make good decisions based upon all of that. How's the universe influencing this? It's like the builder. It's like it's building with the universe. So it's building with that universal energy. And it seems like the universe is saying, okay, now humans, lovely people, you can't run the planet like you can turn off a light switch and off, or a heating system on and off. That's not how it works, right? You've got to work within the nebula of energy that goes much further than just the Earth, just you and me, goes further than this solar system, this galaxy and everything like that. And I think the universe is asking the humans to start to account for and put the solar system, the universal system, in connection to all of that. The King of Wands, I think here the universe is sort of saying, kids, lovely to have you here on this planet, absolutely beautiful, but don't forget, the universal vibration is the leading vibration, and that is true. As a human, if there was just water around me, I wouldn't be able to breathe. So I'm dependent totally upon what is around me in order for me to exist, even as an entity, as energy, as a physical being. And this is what the universe is trying to sort of help us to understand, is that realization that follow the universal energies. They are going to help us to actually bring a lot of things to the surface at the moment. Let's just see how our ancestors are trying to guide the coincidences and stuff like that within our relationships. There seems to be an accordance, so basically a lot of shaking hands. And I think this comes back to that forgiveness idea as well. A lot of group hugging and sharing responsibility. If we go to, if you look at the Second World War, who is responsible for the Second World War? There is a multitude of people, multitude of situations that brought this thing around, including the sun. If you look at the sun's vibration before and the lead up to the Second World War, it is obvious that was bringing that to a head. I go into it a lot into our books of the Astroflower, and it's something that we should understand, that working together, this is it. Shaking hands, it's finding those agreements within the relationships, and those agreements doesn't necessarily mean you have to think exactly the same. On here, you've got people working together, and one person is working on the heart, the other one's working in the root, and the other one's working on the solar plexus. It is that the root, or that red energy, is the energy, the go-between between the heart and the solar plexus, because your connection to the universe is actually there. It's not in the heart, because if the universe sends through a vibration that is so strong, it's just going to it's going to bust your heart. So the universe is not that stupid. They make fuses, or they make compensations within the system. And here is just realizing that doesn't matter what side it is you're on and what point of view you have, it will be different from one to the other. You can see that card. I can't. I can only see what the card is here. It's going to be different. But we can recognize, the pair of us, or all of us, that this is a pack. And that's what we got to start concentrating on. Let's just see what that was. Three of Wands. Coming and goings between people. With the Three of Pentacles. The exchange of ideas. I think this is, within relationships, is really important. Let's just see how the guides or our ancestors are trying to influence the actual physical conversation that is going on between us all. There's a lot of, no, after you. So there's a lot of respect here. There's a lot of listening, I think, more than anything else. They're trying to hear what the other side is doing. It's walking away from that idea, which I was talking about earlier on, of divide and rule. So the extremes. And I think it's walking away from that one extreme, those extremes that are there, and walking to something that is so much greater, which is the sun here, which is happiness. So I think it's the case here that, you know, we really do need to sort of open our ears, hear what the other person is saying, and also for that other person to hear what you are saying. You know, it's a two-way street here, and we need to walk away from conflictual ideas that if you think one way and I think another, that's it, we're going to war. No, it's just that it's better that we have a global view of the situation. In order to get a picture of the Earth, you need 6 photographs, and that's going to be very minimalistic. You're going to be able to see the continents and the seas and stuff like that, but you can't do it with less than 6 photographs because of its spherical sense. So we're going to need at least 6 photographs, and as I say, we won't have much in the way of detail. If we want detail, we're going to need a lot of photographs. We're going to need everybody's photographs, and everybody's photographs is going to be completely different. So someone's going to take a picture of, I don't know, the ice caps of the north and southern poles, and someone's going to take a picture of the desert. Does not necessarily mean that the desert is the world, or the snow caps or the pole caps are the world. It's a case of there is a multitude of different ways of looking at this, and everybody has their right, has their raison d'etre of what we're going through. So I think here on the relationship side, to help this out as an individual for the collective, is respecting the other person, listening to them. You don't necessarily have to agree, but you do have to hear them out as much as they have to hear you out. And if they can't hear you out, then really that's part of that extreme that we need to walk away from. And at that point there, if they don't want to listen to you, it's just a case of kind of going, look, if we can't have a conversation, then we're not going to get anywhere. If you can't listen to another point of view, even if you don't agree with it, we're not going to get anywhere. You've got no intuition here. You're just based upon your root and your I've got to win at all costs sort of scenario. And those are the people there that we should no longer be listening to. Okay, let's just see what's going on the financial or the physical side of life. 5 of Pentacles doesn't bode well. Let's just see what the karmic message is here. One of our strengths is realizing our weaknesses. Okay, I think this is quite important. And it seems to be the message that we need to understand, that if we want to be strong as a collective, as a species, as a custodian on this planet, because that's what position we're trying to put ourselves in, then we do need to realize our weaknesses, and therefore we will find strength in order to compensate for those weaknesses. So collectively we become a lot stronger, a lot more together, a lot more coherent between one another. So yeah, I think I think we're going to have a good hard look at ourselves, and this could be through the political arena, this could be through the financial arena, this could be through sort of technology and big business, this could be through media, be it film, music, art, whatever, or social media. But I think it's time to have a good look at ourselves before we come up to this change. And if we have a good look at ourselves before the change at the end of February and the beginning of March, it's going to make that change so much better. Yeah, let's just see how the universe is trying to influence our karmic message. It's caught between two things. You're either part of the system. It's a similar message to there, but here on this side here it's a little bit more harder, I think. It's saying you're either part of it or you're out of it. You're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem. What are you going to be? What are we going to be as a collective? And I think the universe wants that to be clear. I think this is all in preparation of that new cycle that's coming through. And this is what the new cycle is all about. People who are not part of the solution will just literally just fade away. You'll forget who they are, what they even look like or anything like that, because that's where we should be heading, towards that sun. And that's what the Eight of Cups is all about, walking towards that sun. Let's just see how our ancestors are trying to help us out on this sort of front. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So, you know, I wouldn't turn around and sort of say, you know, let's get rid of all cars. Let's get rid of, you know, the earth has given us petrol. She knows exactly what she's doing. The earth does not need saving. The human race maybe, but not the earth. She knows exactly what she's doing. You could look at plastic as being like the antibodies of the earth. She's given us the knowledge and understanding to make plastic, which is eventually going to maybe be our demise. Not the Earth's, because all that plastic came from the Earth. Nothing comes from elsewhere. Everything comes from this planet. Everything we have, including your body. And everything's going to go back. And she knows how to deal with it. Us humans, maybe not. So here, I think as it's learning to use our technologies correctly, allow real technologies advancements to come through without them being hindered by national security and finances and stuff like that. If it's good for the human and the world, for us to go through this learning curve, we need to do this. So we need this sort of understanding to come to the fore, basically. And it's going to come in quite quickly by the looks of things. And it's going to be a real good victory for us as humans, as a collective. It's going to be really, really beautiful, I think. It's going to be, this is all to do with that revelations, those understandings, those inspirations that I was talking about earlier on. And I think it's coming through this side here of how we sort things out, basically. And I think our ancestors want it to come through, and they want it to get through quickly. We need to prepare ourselves for a new world, the new cycle. It's exactly what the universe is proposing to us. We're either part of it or we're not part of it at all. We're getting to that stage. Okay, let's just see how the guides are trying to, or our ancestors and our future selves are trying to influence the conversation that is within us. It's recognizing truth here. It is what it is. This is how it goes. This is what's what. On regards to finances, political, physical, technological, all of those aspects there's no way around it. 1 and 1 is 2. On the relationship side, obviously you get a lot more into the emotions, points of view, so there's a lot more give and take. But on this side here, I think, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it probably is a duck. I think that's what it's all about. And that Queen of Swords is that. Do you remember I was saying earlier on, it's like the heart of Libra that's coming through? That is Libra. That is that idea that sword is guiding her. It's there, and people can admire it. That sword there, we can admire it. She's using it like a rudder to give her direction. She's got the wind at her back. She's going forward. And this is what we need to do. And as she goes forward, we can admire that sword that she has. But at the same time, if we step too closely, she may well use it. And that's what that heart chakra was all about. It's a lot thinner, a lot more sort of crystal, all about it. And here I think it's this is where the honesty factor comes out. You know, that's that call to the mission. Yeah. And that call to the mission is to organize the past so we can walk away to a beautiful future. Yeah. Let's just see what's going on the overall outcome. So this is at the end of January, leading into February and everything like that. It seems like celebrations, but not quite there. Almost like a preparation of celebration. It's very passionate, and sometimes those passions can overflow a little bit into frustration. But it's very, very passionate. We're going to get behind some sort of movement, and I hope that behind that movement is behind the universal vibration, basically. 3 of Cups. Very social. I think this is a preparation. They're on their way to a celebration. That's what they're doing. They're on their way to a celebration. They're on their way to the 4 of Pentacles, by the looks of things. And it is that communication. It is getting into tune with one another, which is really, really important for the going future. Okay, so there you go for your mid-February, mid-January to the end of January reading collective. You will be having, I will be releasing the individual sign readings from Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday for the mid-February going, mid-January, I keep going in February, it's terrible. Mid-January going right up to the end of January. But share this far and wide, because if we can all get on the same page, as I say, it doesn't necessarily have to agree with everybody. You're going to disagree with some people, but don't let that disagreement push you into an extreme. Just let that disagreement make you realize that that is another point of view, and it is valid as much as my point of view is valid. Excuse me. So it is building up that respect, which I went into the 2023 readings. I do have 5 appointments available per week for the next 2 months. You can find a link in the description below if you would like a personal reading or a healing session that I do. Yes, so that is available. So thank you very much for being here on the Astroflower. If you haven't subscribed, why not? What are you waiting for? Subscribe and click that bell. It would certainly help us out. It would show your appreciation for this channel. Also, liking it and sharing this video would also not only help this channel out, but also help you out and help the human race out. It'd be absolutely brilliant. In the meantime, Astroflower followers or Astroflower beings, yeah, don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy.